Chapter 13, Body Defense Mechanisms. Targets of the body's defense mechanisms include pathogens and cancer cells. The term pathogen refers to any disease-causing bacteria, virus, protozoan, fungi, parasitic worm, or prion. A prion is a misfolded protein. Second target is cancer cells. Cancer cells are ones that the body cells, their genetic information undergoes mutations. This leads to unregulated cell division and unregulated growth. The three lines of defense include the physical and chemical surface barriers. These are considered innate. In other words, we are born with them. They are non-specific, but they keep foreign organisms and or molecules out. Second line of defense is our internal cellular and chemical defenses. Again, this is innate. We are born with this. They are non-specific. They attack any foreign organism or molecule that has gotten past the surface barrier. The immune response, it is specific. It has a primary target in mind. It destroys specific targets and remembers them. It finds these that it does not recognize as belonging to self and marks them for destruction. And so this table shows that the first line of defense goes into action. We're born with these. They are innate. They're non-specific, physical and chemical surface barriers. If the pathogen penetrates beyond the first line of defense, the second line of defense goes into action. Again, they're non-specific, they're innate, we are born with this. Still, if the pathogen is around after going through the second line of defense, our third line of defense, termed either adaptive or acquired defenses, goes into action. The first line of defense of physical barriers is that the skin is the first and primary barrier. It's innate. The skin is waterproof, very hard to penetrate. It's resistant to most toxins and enzymes of invading organisms. The mucous membranes that line the respiratory and digestive tracts have cilia, as well as sticky mucus. This mucus helps to trap microbes. The cilia sweeps away these foreign materials. Talking about being waterproof, the very top layer of our skin is termed epidermis. It's basically dead cells that are composed of a protein termed keratin. It's this keratin that waterproofs the skin. Our skins are continuously replaced approximately every 40 minutes to the number of about 1 million. Still in the first line of defense under chemical barriers, we have our sweat and oil glands of the skin. These also produce chemicals that may either slow or even prevent growth of bacteria. Within the lining of the stomach, cells produce hydrochloric acid and protein digesting enzymes that aid in the destruction of pathogens. pH of the stomach is approximately 2. So this would be a chemical barrier in the first line of defense, innate, that we are born with. Still under the first line of defense, chemical barriers, urine. Urine acts by slowing bacterial growth and also serves to wash microbes from the urethra. Saliva and tears contain an enzyme called lysosome that kills bacteria. Bacteria in the vagina create an acidic environment that also acts to inhibit growth of some pathogens. This picture shows tears that serve to wash away irritating substances and microbes. Contains a lysosome enzyme that kills many bacteria. The skin that provides that physical barrier. Acidic pH discourages the growth of microorganisms. Sweat and oil glands found in the skin. Large intestine. Normal bacteria it talks about keep those that may invade their area in check. Respiratory tract has the cilia, the mucus. Mucus is going to entrap them. The cilia will help to expel them from the body. And the acid of the stomach kills many microorganisms. The second line of defense, again, is non-specific. We're born with these. They contain defensive cells, defensive proteins, inflammation, and fever. Defensive cells, phagocytes, which is a type of white blood cells, engulf pathogens. Neutrophils are the first to arrive. Neutrophils are the most abundant white blood cell. They can engulf a dozen or so before die, but even upon their death, they release chemicals attracting other neutrophils to that site of injury. Macrophages, and when they were contained within the blood, they were called monocytes, but now they are in the tissues. Thus, the same cell has taken on a new term called a macrophage. Eosinophils, we looked at this in chapter 11, blood. Eosinophils is a type of white blood cell responsible for attacking pathogens by releasing enzymes that are too large for phagocytosis, such as parasitic worms, tapeworms, roundworms, that's too large to be ingested any other way. Eosinophils also lessen the effect of allergies by engulfing antibody and antigen complexes. And this just shows the cell where that eosinophil has released its hydrolytic enzymes, destroying the structure of that cell. So thus, since it is not a viable cell, it cannot carry on its cellular machinery inside. Thus, it has been marked and has been destroyed. Defensive cells continue to include our natural killer cells. It's a type of white blood cell, searching its job, its purpose, to search out abnormal cells, killing cancer cells. They're not specific, though. They respond to any abnormal cell whose membrane has been altered by the addition of proteins not recognized by the natural killer cells. Their primary target is cancerous cells infected by viruses. Natural killer cells attach to the normal cell. They release proteins that cause pores into the cell's membrane. Water enters and the cell bursts. Again, this just shows the mechanism of reaction of a natural killer cell attacking, invading pathogen, or possibly a cancer cell where it has destroyed it. Defensive proteins include interferons and the complement system. The complement system is a series of multiple proteins that assist other defense mechanisms of the body. Interferons are small proteins secreted by a cell that's been infected by a virus. These prions help to prevent the spread of the infection. So interferons slow viral replication. After these interferons are released, it attracts macrophages and natural killer cells that destroy the infected cell. It kind of marks it for destruction. It also stimulates these neighboring cells to make proteins, preventing the virus from replicating in those cells. So these small proteins secreted by that cell basically mark it for destruction, so that natural killer cells and macrophages can come in, do their job, and destroy that cell. But the secretion of these interferons also send out message to the neighboring cells around them to make proteins to keep them from being infected. Many pharmacy applications have been shown to be effective in acting. Some have been devised, such as for genital herpes, human papillomavirus, and also hepatitis C. The complement system is a group of proteins that enhance both non-specific as well as specific defense mechanisms. They destroy pathogens, enhance phagocytosis, as well as stimulate inflammation. There's at least 20 different proteins involved in a cascading reaction within the complement system. They circulate in an inactive state in the bloodstream until activated. Complement proteins can directly induce holes into the target cell membrane, one marked for destruction. Complement enhances phagocytosis by attracting macrophages and neutrophils. They can bind directly to the microbe, making it easier for the macrophages and neutrophils to attack and to devour this invading cell. They stimulate inflammation by causing blood vessels to dilate and increasing the permeability. This process allows greater blood flow, as well as increase across and access for more white blood cells. This just shows an image of how complement works. The now activated because it's come in contact with the intruder. The activated complement proteins form holes in the cell wall and membrane of the bacterium. The integrity of that cell cannot be maintained. Water enters and the bacterium bursts. Inflammatory response. It destroys invaders and helps repair and restore damaged tissues. There's basically 4 signs: redness, heat, swelling, and pain. Inflammation results when tissues become damaged and blood vessels dilate. Redness, mast cells release a chemical called histamine, which causes the blood vessels to dilate. This dilation of the blood vessel allows more defensive cells to be brought in, as well as aids in removing the dead cells and toxins. Heat increases the metabolic rate of the body in the injured area. Temperature rises, and as a result of increased blood flow, this increased heat helps speed healing as well as the activities of the defensive cells. Swelling, although can be uncomfortable in a joint, may hamper movement, although it does permit the joint time to rest and heal. Swelling is histamine, a chemical, causes the capillaries to become more leaky, and fluid seeps into the tissues. This is where we get our swelling. This fluid brings clotting factors, oxygens, nutrients. The pain can be caused either by the excessive fluid, possibly pressing up against a nerve, bacterial toxins, which might kill cells, prostaglandins, which are lipid molecules released by many plasma membranes that cause smooth muscle contraction. So in our picture here, we shows where the injured tissue releases certain chemicals. Blood vessels widen. That redness, blood flow carries these defensive cells and chemicals to the damaged tissues and removes toxin. The heat helps to increase the metabolic rate of the cells in that injured area. Capillaries become more permeable. Fluid containing defensive chemicals, blood clotting factors, oxygen, nutrients, and defensive cells, they seep into this injured area. Pain, movement is hampered along. Movement is hampered, but this allows, as previously said, time to rest and heal. Fever is an abnormally high body temperature. It's caused by a chemical known as pyrogen. We all know what a pyromaniac is. They burn buildings. Well, in this case, fever is caused by the protein pyrogen. The pyrogen is chemicals that resets the brain's thermostat to a higher temperature. A mild or moderate fever helps to fight bacterial infection. A very high fever, though, is dangerous, as it can denature proteins, destroy the proteins within our body. Fever increases the body's metabolic rate. The higher rate speeds up defensive responses and repair processes. Bacteria release toxins that often act as a pyrogen. Whether self or non-self, act on the hypothalamus to raise the set point. So physiological responses such as shivering is initiated to raise the body temperature. Perspiring reduces the body's temperature to reach a new low set point. So as we have fever, we begin to sweat it off, which activates the sweat glands in our skin. That evaporation from the skin is going to act to cool the body down. In moderate and mild fever, it acts to slow bacterial growth and stimulate the defensive responses. The liver and the spleen remove ions from the blood. Bacteria needs to reproduce. The third line of defense, the immune system. It has specific. It has a target. It has memory. It's specific responses, and it has memory. And that's what sets this mode of action aside. Organs of the lymphatic system are important components defined by their functions because they recognize and destroy specific pathogens or specific foreign molecules. The adaptive immune response is the body's specific defenses. Important characteristics is that it has specificity and it has memory. Specificity means that its action is going to be directed at a specific pathogen. Memory remembers that pathogen and attacks it so quickly that illness does not result upon second exposure. So for specificity, it would be such as going to attack the cold virus and not the measles virus, or so on. So it is both specific, and once it has been introduced to it, will mount a much faster response upon a subsequent encounter.